Hey, this is Mrs. Mulhollan, your English teacher, and I thought I would bring to you some information about meditation. With me today, I have Jen Marsico and Neil Haynes. They've come in to talk to you a little bit about the benefits of meditation. They are currently both life coaching students learning about the benefits of meditation. So, I'm going to start right into this and ask you guys a question, and you can take turns answering them. And if you answer them differently, that's even better, because I want the kids to understand that not everybody meditates the same way, and truly understand what meditation is and why it's so important. So when did you first begin to meditate and why? Who would like to jump in?
I started meditating about 8 months ago. I found that my mind was so congested, so filled with, not nonsense, but it was so much that it was affecting my ability to concentrate with work. It was affecting my work, and I just needed something to clear my mind. So I turned to meditation.
Okay, so how do you know if your mind's congested? Like, that's the big thing. I think recognizing that, oh, hey, wait, my mind's all jammed up. I need to know how to get rid of that.
For me, it was just feeling overwhelmed with everything and just feeling like you couldn't fit anything else in. Like, you're losing track of things. You are becoming disorganized. It was just little triggers that was for me.
So, how much time do you spend meditating then when you first started?
When I first started, I went about 20 minutes, which I don't really recommend going that long right away, because you kind of lose your focus and attention. And so I cut it back to 10 minutes, which I feel I'm getting more out of the 10 minutes than I was trying to take a bigger chunk right away.
And I think people think that, well, I don't have time to meditate. I don't have 20 minutes or even 10 minutes sometimes to give to just kind of clear my mind. But as you were stating, one of the things that happens to you when you realize that you need to start meditating is that you start forgetting things. You start not being as centered and focused as you need to be. So taking that 10 to 20 minutes is sometimes more beneficial than trying to get things done in that 10 to 20 minutes, because in essence, you're not doing as good a job as you could be in focusing. Did you find that to be the case with you?
Yeah, I've been meditating for over a year now, and when it was introduced to me, I was at a very overwhelming, stressful time in my life. Felt like nothing else was working, and I was open and willing to try anything, and it changed my life.
Okay, and so that's really important, because I think students might look at meditation and say, well, this is an adult thing to do. This is something that people who are highly religious do. And it has really nothing to do with religion. It has nothing to do with being an adult. As a matter of fact, there have been a lot of studies done in regard to the benefits of meditation with your children, and I've tried to instill that with my son as well, and I think that makes a huge difference, because kids are as stressed as adults are today. Do you agree?
I agree.
So how do you meditate? I think that's a big thing, because that's one of the reasons some people are reluctant to get started, because they say, well, I don't even know what to do. I don't even know how to meditate. Like, what am I supposed to do? Sit there like, the little picture that we have here.
Right.
Does everybody sit like this and do that, that om sound that they make? I mean, do you have to do it a certain way? What have you found that works best for you?
I mean, I believe everyone can meditate in their own way. They get the most out of whatever they find the most beneficial and calming. Given the technological age that we have now, there's apps out there that you can. That's kind of how I started. It's there's several apps. They offer both like quiet, like silent meditations. You could also do like a self-guided one, which is kind of what I started into. It kind of helps you through, what to think about, how to calm your mind, and really kind of drown out everything going on around you. So I found that the self-guided apps on my phone, or any smartphone or whatever, was most beneficial to me.
I didn't even know there were apps out there for that.
I prefer a guided app, especially in the morning. I get up. That's the first thing I do in the morning is I make a cup of coffee. I get comfortable, and I go to my guided app. And the message that it starts out with is something. It just seems like I always need to hear that, and it always happens at the right time. And the message just clicks with me, and sometimes I'll listen to it 2 or 3 times a day.
Wow.
It's something that I definitely make a point to start my day with now.
Do you meditate in the morning as well?
Yes.
Okay, I know that it's recommended to meditate in the morning, and when I first started learning a little bit about meditation, I would meditate in the morning.
Mhm.
Mornings, I'm not a morning person, first of all, and I'm always rushed. I'm high maintenance, go figure. And so when I would sit down in the morning to meditate, I found that I could not quiet my mind. And I tried so many different, I tried complete silence, I tried music, I tried guided meditation, I tried all kinds of stuff. And I finally said, okay, so it works best for everybody in the morning, most people in the morning. And then I decided, maybe I need to try it at night because I'm a night owl.
Right.
And so although it's very beneficial to start your day with meditation if you can, because it seems to start you off on the right foot. At night works best for me. And I had to kind of do a trial and error period there where I was getting frustrated, and I thought, I'm just going to give this up because I can't concentrate. And instead of quitting, I just found a different time of day that works best for me. So evening works the best for me too, because my day's done. I don't have a million things on my mind about what I have to do to start the day. So I was able to quiet my mind a lot better when I did it then. But that's great that you guys are able to do that in the morning. I am able to do that in the summertime when I am off, but when I'm getting ready for work, it just doesn't work well for me.
Even a midday meditation helps, just 5 minutes. If I feel myself getting overwhelmed or stressed out, if I have a lot going on, if I can make myself take 5 minutes to just breathe, and breathing is a big part of it too, just regroup, calm down, that to me is meditation too, and it helps redirect my whole day.
And I think people think that the breathing aspect is silly too. They're like, what do you mean breathe? I breathe all the time. That's not the point. That the concept of the breathing that you're doing when you're meditating is that deep breath in through your nose, hold it for a few seconds, and then you release it slowly. And just doing that 3 times, as we learned through the life coaching program, can also eliminate anxiety and stress. So I notice that, if students push my buttons, not that I ever get upset or angry with my kids, but if I ever get a little stressed out or I feel like I'm not going to handle something very well, I will stop and I will take those 3 deep breaths so that I can, regroup too. I try to do that as well. So you don't always have to be in a quiet place to do that breathing and kind of take yourself to that happy place for a few minutes. If you feel like you're getting out of control or you're not concentrating well, that's something that you can do even if you are in a room full of people. You can train your mind to kind of regroup. And so I think that's really cool to know too, because I think people think you have to be in this quiet space and you have to sit there for 20 minutes and you have to have this certain routine about you to meditate. And that's not true at all.
No, and it does take time to develop. You do have to give it a chance and practice it regularly to, understand. So starting out small, even if you feel like you're not getting it, you are getting it, and just continue to.
When did you guys start seeing benefits from the meditation? Like how long did you hang in there until, you started saying, hey, this is really working? Would you say?
I started noticing things within weeks of my meditation.
That's great.
But as I continue to meditate, it continues to benefit me every day.
Good.
I probably a little longer. I went about a couple months before I actually quit, like after a month, and I was like, this isn't doing anything for me. Again, I started out doing it 20 minutes. So I found, the first 10 minutes was beneficial, but then my mind was just wandering the last 10 minutes. So that's why I cut my down to 10 minutes. And I found that more beneficial and just more calm throughout the day. I'm more focused and just, retraining things. So
a lot of people even suggest starting at 5 minutes.
Yes.
And then growing, extending it, as you get better. But it is very hard, especially if you are wound tight and your mind is racing. It is an exercise that takes practice.
It really is.
Yeah.
I have such a type A personality, and I take on way too many things, and I have this tendency to really have a hard time to quiet my mind. It took me a very long time to start to even see the benefits. I didn't realize that it was making a difference in me until I did quit for a little while because I got too busy. And then I started realizing, oh my gosh, I need this. I really need this time for me. And I think it's something that you can't not do.
Right.
It's really imperative. What do you do when your mind starts to wander, though, when you're meditating? I mean, does that happen to you, or did it happen to you in the beginning?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I know for me, when I have a thought come in, and it's always going to happen. I mean, I've probably had like 2 sessions where my mind did not wander. But when I have a thought come in, I do a process called noting, in which I become aware of it, and then I can either maybe attach like an adjective to it, like if it's a happy thought, if it's a sad thought, if it's going to make me upset. I kind of attach that to it. Um, and then I kind of just turn it into air and just kind of picture it floating away, like out of my mind. And I found that that kind of helps me kind of, get rid of the wandering and the thoughts that come in.
Oh, that's really neat.
Yeah.
Two of my techniques, if I catch myself wondering, I stop and I go back to the beginning and just chant something, quietly to myself. And I also learned through reading too. When we're busy, I caught myself, if I'm brushing my teeth, I'm thinking about the 100 things that I should be doing or should have done, or when I'm cooking or anything like that. And I just tell myself, just just brush your teeth. And that helps stop my mind. So when I'm supposed to be just meditating, just meditate, or just cook. Stop thinking about everything else that's going on.
Oh, that's good. So you're practicing that even when you're outside of meditation. You're practicing on being in the moment, which
Yes.
we're so guilty of not doing. I think the Native Americans, and I believe I've talked to my students about that a little bit, the Native Americans were always making fun of us for either dwelling on the past or striving toward the future and never really enjoying the present. So that's a really good
Right.
that's a really good message. Technology. Years ago they have talked about, and this is what the reason that I am doing this interview with you guys about meditation. In 1845, there was this transcendentalist movement, and they talked about the idea of getting back to nature. And in this case, they had a connection with God too. And so meditation is not really religious, but it can enhance your spirituality, whatever that may be. And so they focused a great deal on that too, getting in touch with nature, themselves, and quieting their busy minds, because they felt that there was this industrial force that was moving on them, and they had to kind of move away from it. And I think about how much has changed in this 100 plus years since those were written, and how technology has taken over our lives. Why do you guys think now more than ever that meditation and stepping away from technology and that sort of thing while you're meditating and quieting your mind is so much more important today?
To me, it's a form of communication with others, because when I catch myself, if I'm involved in my phone or in a TV program or something, when my kids were littler, this is where I noticed it. I would drown them out because they would be playing or fighting or whatnot. Where now, as they're getting older and they want to talk to me, I want to give them my attention. So I make it important, I turn off the TV program or I shut the phone off and I really listen to what they have to say. And to me, that's giving them my respect. And I would ask that others would do the same to me, because I am willing to admit when I'm focused on other things, I'm not listening. So that way, meditation helps me learn to focus and adjust and realize where I need to listen and calm down and slow down and not think about other things.
So that would definitely improve your relationships too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Excellent.
I think we can all agree that technology has its advantages and disadvantages. Today, I think it's speeding us up, and it's to the point where we're trying to keep up with it. So that kind of makes it, we kind of have this urgency of immediacy, like we need to have everything immediately. We need to be checking in on our social media. We need to be, posting statuses of where we're at, what we're doing. So we're just surrounded by technology. And it's just, in ways it's bad, because like I said, it keeps you feeling like everything is just so fast paced, because it itself is just advancing at such a rapid uh, pace. And I think that we need to, like Melissa, you'd said that, we're so plugged in these days that, we need to take a moment and sort of unplug ourselves from all of that and take a step back and recharge. And meditation, of all things, will definitely help in that.
Good. Okay. So I think we've talked about everything that I wanted to cover with this. Is there anything else that you guys would like to add to meditation and anything that you think would be beneficial for the kids to know?
For me, sometimes I, want to wish back and think if I would have only learned this sooner, then maybe I could have gotten more benefits out of previous events in my life. And then sometimes I think meditation come to me at the right time because I was so stressed and wound tight and just I didn't know if I was coming or going. So I am very grateful that it came to me when it did. And I believe that anybody can benefit from meditation in any form that works best for them.
Yeah, and just to, elaborate again with the immediacy and the, when to actually do it, morning, night, during the day. It just depends. Like if you're someone who wakes up and you have so much on your mind in the morning that you have like a checklist in your, throughout the day, I would not recommend doing it in the morning. I would recommend doing it when you are least, I guess, overwhelmed, when you have the least on your mind. So if that happens at night, if you're a person who goes to your checklist during the day and is feeling more at ease at night, I would recommend meditating at night. There again, if you find yourself throughout the day that you need to just take a moment and take it, relax, there is a meditation system that I kind of read about. It's called a 3 by 3 meditation. You take 3 minutes 3 times a day, and you just kind of sit back. You separate yourself from what's going on around you, and you kind of close your eyes, and you just focus on, like, for the first minute, you focus 1 minute on like 3 things that you hear, and you just focus on those. And then the next minute would be maybe 2 things that you smell, or something, something you would taste. And then lastly, maybe something that you feel, like textile, your clothing, anything like that. Anything to just kind of change your focus on one thing rather than having 50, things going on. So I found that definitely beneficial, if that's
That would heighten your awareness, and that is the major point
right.
too of meditation is becoming more aware of everything that's going around. So that
Right.
is good steps. I mean, considering the resources that we have available, there's a lot out there to, investigate and research. I didn't just go by one way. I took a little piece of different suggestions that have been made to me to help make what works best for
And
me.
kind of tailor it to fit
Yes.
what works best
Right.
for you.
Yes.
And I think that's so important. And I don't want the kids to think that, oh, if I don't have this big checklist because I'm not working, or I'm not a mom or a dad or somebody yet, that I don't need to meditate because, I just kind of go to school and maybe have a job here or there or whatever, but I don't have as much going on. I don't think that's true. I think so many kids are overwhelmed with maybe family issues, peer issues, boyfriend girlfriend situations, and the way they're handling it is not best. Some of the escape with the drugs and alcohol, with some of the depression and cutting and that sort of thing. I'd like to see some people really take what I'm saying to heart and utilize the meditation techniques that you guys discussed, as well as what I discussed, because I think that would be very beneficial to keeping them on the right track and keeping them from experiencing some of the issues that they are having today.
wish I would have learned about it a long time ago, especially at that age, whenever that is a huge point and you're maturing and dealing with life. Whenever you start experiencing adult issues, would be huge.
Right,
to
because if you
take
have
advantage
that,
of
you
this.
can,
Yes.
even if you're not utilizing it maybe at the moment, you always know it's there and it's something that you can go back to doing and say, oh, hey, maybe I need this right now.
I think the earlier you start, the more benefits you're going to get. Like you said,
Life. Yes.
when you start, like as kids these days have the social media, the tests, the homework. It doesn't. They don't have to have
There's
a
a lot
job.
of pressure.
Peer pressure. Just taking that moment and starting earlier, by the time you're our age, you're going to be an expert at it.
Yeah, it would change your whole adult life.
Good. Okay, this is Melissa Mulhollan, and I want to thank Jen Marsico and Neil Haynes for coming in to talk to us today. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you for having us.